Have you ever noticed how exhausted you feel after pretending to be okay all the time? You smile, you flex, you act like nothing hurts. You post the pictures. You say, "I'm good." But deep down, you're breaking. Quietly, invisibly, alone. I used to live that way too. I thought strength meant silence. I thought toughness meant control. I thought that if I could bury the pain deep enough, I'd finally become untouchable. But the truth? The more I hid my weakness, the weaker I became. Society tells us that vulnerability is dangerous, that emotions make us fragile, that tears are proof of defeat. So we wear masks. We lift heavier, work longer, smile harder, and convince the world we're fine. But here's the thing, no one tells you. Pretending to be strong doesn't make you powerful. It just makes you numb. And numbness isn't strength, it's self-betrayal. Because the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall apart. They're the ones who know exactly when to stop pretending. Maybe that's why you feel so tired lately. Not because life is too heavy, but because you've been carrying an identity that isn't yours. The armor you wear to protect yourself is the same armor that keeps you from feeling alive. So, ask yourself, why does strength feel so heavy? Why does toughness feel so lonely? And most importantly, who would you be if you stopped pretending? Now, don't leave yet, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you see yourself and the world around you. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how Machiavelli, yes, the man they called ruthless, actually understood the psychology of strength better than anyone. And by the end of this video, you'll realize that true power has nothing to do with hardness and everything to do with awareness. If you are ready to see what real strength looks like, stay with me until the end. And before we dive in, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, so you'll be the first to know when I release another video that helps you understand yourself on a deeper level. I see it everywhere. At the gym, a man lifting weights until his hands bleed, his face red with effort, his heart racing from something that has nothing to do with muscle. He's not fighting the barbell. He's fighting himself. You can see it in the way he stares at the floor between sets, in that quiet moment when no one's watching. That's not a strength. That's survival disguised as discipline. And then there's her, the woman who leads a team of 20. She walks into the office with confidence, commands a meeting like a general, solves problems, and hits deadlines. Everyone says she's unstoppable. But in the parking lot after work, she sits in her car with the engine off, hands gripping the steering wheel, eyes full of tears she refuses to let fall. Different stories, same mask, the mask of toughness. In America, we were raised on it. Man up, be strong, don't let them see you sweat. We built a culture that worships the image of strength but punishes the reality of feeling. Here, success means composure, pain means weakness, and silence means control. But let's tell the truth. This performance is killing us. We've mistaken emotional suppression for self-mastery. We've mistaken numbness for discipline. We call it resilience, but it's really exhaustion with better PR. I used to think the same way. I told myself that pain was just weakness leaving the body, that emotion was something you had to conquer, not understand. But I was wrong. You don't conquer emotions. You either feel them, or they consume you. Think about it. Scroll through social media, and what do you see? Motivational clips of people grinding at 4 a.m., billionaires preaching hustle, men boasting they haven't cried in years. The message is everywhere. Be unbreakable, be stoic, be above it all. But there's a silent epidemic hiding behind that message. Anxiety, addiction, emotional burnout. People who look perfect on the outside but feel like ghosts inside their own lives. And we clap for them, because we've been taught to admire people who suffer beautifully. This is the tragedy of modern toughness. It tells you that your humanity is a flaw, that your sensitivity is a liability. So you suppress it, layer by layer, year by year, until one day you can't remember what real joy feels like. We've become masters of pretending, experts at smiling through pain. But every mask costs energy. Every performance drains life. And when you're always acting strong, You lose sight of what strength even means. In this world that fears weakness, we've confused emotional numbness with strength. We've forgotten that being human, messy, imperfect, vulnerable, is not the opposite of power. It's the source of it. Because true strength isn't the absence of pain. It's the courage to face it. It's the ability to feel without falling apart, to cry without shame, to admit, I'm not okay, and still move forward. That's the strength no one talks about. The quiet, unseen kind that grows in silence, not in the gym, not in the boardroom, not on social media, but in the moments when you finally drop the act and face yourself. And maybe, just maybe, that's why you're here. Because some part of you knows the act is getting old, the mask doesn't fit anymore, and I know what it's like to be there, right at the edge. Terrified to take it off, but even more terrified to keep wearing it. Because deep down you can feel it too. The life you want can't coexist with the lie you keep living. So stay with me. Because what we're about to uncover next isn't just psychology, it is liberation. We're going to explore what Machiavelli, one of history's most misunderstood minds, knew about power, control, and the danger of pretending. Before we go deeper, I want to hear from you. Have you ever worn that mask, the one that says, I'm fine, when you weren't? Have you ever been the strong one for everyone else until you had nothing left for yourself? Share your story in the comments. I read them all, and I'll reply to as many as I can. Because you're not alone in this, and the moment you speak it, you start taking your power back. People love to misjudge Machiavelli. They call him ruthless, manipulative, cold-blooded, as if he were some villain scheming in the dark corners of history. But if you actually read him, really read him, you discover something different. He wasn't celebrating cruelty, he was diagnosing human nature. Machiavelli didn't teach men to be heartless, he taught them to be aware. He understood that every act of power, every decision of leadership, begins not with domination, but with understanding what drives people. And he said something brilliant. Men are driven by two things, fear and love. Fear and love, that's it. The two forces that shape kingdoms, empires, families, and you. But here's the irony. When you pretend to be tough, you're not mastering either one. You're not conquering fear, you're just denying it. You're not inspiring love, you're suffocating it. I learned this the hard way. When I first tried to become strong, I thought the goal was to stop feeling afraid. I tried to choke my emotions, suppress every doubt, and present a version of myself that looked unbreakable. But behind that mask was terror. Terror of being seen, of being rejected, of being ordinary. Pretending to be fearless doesn't make you brave. It just disconnects you from the truth. And once you lose contact with the truth, you lose control. Not just of others, but of yourself. Because Machiavelli wasn't just talking about politics, he was talking about psychology. He was talking about the inner kingdom, the empire inside your own mind. And in that kingdom, you are both the ruler and the ruled. To rule others, he said, you must first rule yourself. But how do you rule yourself when you're at war with your own emotions? How do you lead your life if you've silenced the very parts of you that make you human? Real strength, the kind that Machiavelli respected, isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about knowing emotion, studying it, and using it with intelligence. Fear can destroy you, or it can guide you. Love can make you weak, or it can make you unstoppable. It all depends on whether you recognize what's happening beneath the surface. Machiavelli understood something most people miss. You can't influence others if you're a mystery to yourself. You can't command respect while being ruled by hidden insecurities, and you'll never possess power if you're afraid of your own reflection. He knew that pretending is the enemy of mastery, because when you fake strength, you build a wall, not to protect yourself, but to hide from yourself. And behind that wall, fear multiplies in silence. Let's be honest, we all do this. We tell ourselves we're just being professional. We say, I'm fine, I don't care, when we're dying to be understood. We armor up because the world feels dangerous. But that armor isn't made of steel, it's made of fear disguised as discipline. And here's the paradox. The more you hide your fear, the more control it gains over you. The more you deny your pain, the louder it rules your life. You think you're protecting yourself, but in truth, you're building a prison, brick by brick, smile by smile, silence by silence. Machiavelli would have told you, never confuse appearances with reality. A lion doesn't need to prove it's a lion. Only the weak roar just to be heard. Strength isn't a performance, it's precision. It is the calm awareness of what you feel, and the decision not to be consumed by it. That's mastery. That's leadership. That's power. And maybe that's what he was really trying to teach us all along. You can't manipulate the world if you can't manage your own mind. You can't outsmart others if you're still being deceived by your own shadow. When you finally see that, when you realize your toughness is just fear wearing a better outfit, something breaks open inside you. You stop fighting life, you stop pretending, and you start observing, calmly, powerfully, silently. That's where strength begins. So let me ask you, what drives you more right now? Fear or love? Because if it's fear, it's time to face it. That's where Machiavelli's brilliance meets Jung's truth, awareness. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever mistaken control for confidence? Have you ever believed that staying cold made you powerful, only to realize it made you empty? Share your experience in the comments. I'll read them and I'll reply to as many as I can, because this conversation is where real power starts. You don't have to look far to see what happens when pretending becomes a lifestyle. Just scroll through the headlines. Everywhere you turn, there's another story of someone who had it all: power, money, fame, and yet crumbled under the weight of their own performance. I remember when I first noticed this pattern. It wasn't in history books, it was in the news. A celebrity athlete who trained harder than anyone, who spoke like a god of discipline, suddenly admitted he hadn't slept properly in years. A CEO of a billion-dollar company, the symbol of control, secretly battling panic attacks between meetings. A soldier, praised as a hero, was unable to look in the mirror because the person staring back no longer felt human. This isn't a weakness. This is what happens when toughness becomes theater. America loves its heroes, the invincible, the unbreakable, the self-made. But what we never see in those glossy magazine covers are the tremors beneath the surface, the sleepless nights, the pills, the quiet breakdowns that don't fit the story we want to believe. We worship resilience, but we shame reflection. We glorify the fighter, but we mock the man who admits he's tired. That's not culture. That's a collective delusion. Because the truth is, strength without self-awareness becomes self-destruction. When you live by the mask, you eventually forget there's a face underneath. Machiavelli would have recognized this immediately. He wrote that appearances can deceive even those who create them. That's the danger of illusion. It doesn't just fool others, it fools the one performing it. The moment you start performing strength instead of cultivating it, you begin to live in fiction. And fiction has no mercy. Look at our modern icons. The influencer is preaching hustle while secretly falling apart. The politician who hides behind aggression because gentleness feels unsafe. The entrepreneur who burns bridges and bodies in the name of vision. All of them driven by fear. The fear of being ordinary, the fear of being forgotten, the fear of being seen. But here's the paradox. The more they fight to look powerful, the more fragile they become. Because the human mind is not built to sustain a lie indefinitely. At some point, the act collapses. I remember a man I once worked with. A leader everyone admired. He spoke with authority, made decisions fast, and never once showed emotion. People said he was the definition of strength, until one day he didn't show up. A week later, word spread, he'd had a breakdown. Years of repression are catching up all at once. That's the price of pretending. You can delay the collapse, but you can't avoid it. And maybe you've felt that too. That quiet dread in the pit of your stomach when someone asks, "How are you?" and you lie without even thinking. That ache in your chest when the lights go off and the mask starts slipping. It's not burnout, it's the body begging for truth. Machiavelli would call that the revolt of the inner kingdom. You can rule others through fear for a while, but you cannot rule yourself that way forever. Because the psyche, as Jung later reminded us, has laws of its own. Every emotion you suppress becomes a shadow, and every shadow eventually demands light. You can't cheat that system. But here's something hopeful. Every collapse you witness, every celebrity scandal, every leader's fall, is not just tragedy. It's a mirror. It's a reflection of what happens when strength is built on denial instead of understanding. And if you can see it out there, you can see it in yourself. You don't have to reach the top to feel that pressure. It's in the student pretending to be fine after failing. It is in the father who never says "I love you" because he doesn't know how. It's in the woman who smiles through heartbreak because she's afraid to seem dramatic. Different roles, same script. We're all part of a performance that tells us emotions are enemies. But the moment you stop acting, even just for a second, you begin to see the stage for what it is. So I'll say it again. Pretending to be strong doesn't protect you. It isolates you. It cuts you off not just from others, but from yourself. And the longer you wear the mask, the heavier it gets, until it breaks you or you break it. That choice, my friend, is where power begins. Before we move forward, I want you to think about this. Who in your life has been wearing that mask? Maybe it's someone close to you. Maybe it's you. Tell me in the comments, what does strength mean to you now? Have you ever realized that your toughness was just fear in disguise? Share your story below. I read them all, every single one, because this isn't just a video, it's a mirror. And sometimes mirrors are where revolutions begin. I used to believe that power meant control. Control over my emotions. Control over how others saw me. Control over every chaos that dared to enter my life. But here is what no one tells you about control. It doesn't make you strong. It just makes you tense. And when you live tense long enough, your soul forgets how to breathe. There's another kind of strength, one Machiavelli hinted at and Jung defined, the strength of connection. Connection. Not domination, not hardness, connection. Because when you dare to see yourself clearly, not as a warrior, not as a performer, but as a human being, you reconnect with the power you lost trying to be invincible. The truth is, strength of control is rigid. It cracks under pressure. But strength of connection, the strength that comes from self-awareness, from vulnerability, bends, adapts, survives. Machiavelli understood that a ruler who rules only through fear eventually becomes a prisoner of his own fortress. Jung understood the same thing within the psyche. When you rule yourself through repression, you may look powerful, but inside, you are enslaved. And that's what pretending does. It enslaves you to your image. It makes you a hostage to the version of yourself that can never rest, never cry, never need help. A version that lives only to be admired, not understood. I remember the first time I broke that illusion. I had been carrying years of silence, years of pretending I was fine, until one night, it just cracked. I couldn't hold the mask anymore. And instead of collapsing, something miraculous happened. I felt lighter. I felt human. That's when I realized vulnerability doesn't make you weak. It disarms the illusions that keep you imprisoned. When you let yourself feel, you don't fall apart. You fall inward. You meet the parts of yourself you've exiled. The anger, the fear, the longing, all the things you've denied. And suddenly, they stop being enemies. They become messengers. Jung said, "The mask you wear to survive eventually kills the self beneath it." He called that mask the persona, the identity we build to fit in, to be accepted, to be loved. It's useful until it starts living your life for you. And I know, letting go of that mask feels terrifying, because who are you without it? Who are you when you stop performing? You're real. And that's far more powerful than being perfect. This is where strength transforms. From domination to direction, from reaction to awareness, from fear to presence. It's not about fighting your emotions anymore. It's about listening to them, like a strategist listening to his troops. You don't suppress them, you understand them. Because awareness is the highest form of control. That's what Machiavelli and Jung both knew. To truly master the external world, you must first make peace with the internal one. The war outside is just a reflection of the one within. So stop trying to be the strongest person in the room. Be the most conscious. Be the one who can stay calm in chaos because you're not hiding from yourself anymore. That's real power, the kind that no one can take away. And maybe that's what you've been searching for all along. Not invincibility, but integrity. The strength to be soft without collapsing, to be open without losing yourself, to stand unarmored in a world obsessed with armor. When you can do that, everything changes. Because people can sense when you're no longer pretending. Your silence starts to speak louder than words. Your presence begins to command without effort. And the world, for the first time, respects not your performance, but your peace. That's the paradox of power. The less you need to prove it, the more you have it. Now, I want you to pause. Take a deep breath, right now. Ask yourself, what mask am I still wearing? Who would I be if I took it off, just for one day? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what part of yourself you were ready to reclaim, the part you've silenced for too long. I'll be reading them, every one of them, because your story might be the mirror someone else needs to finally remove their mask too. You don't need to pretend to be strong anymore. You just need to become aware. Because awareness, that quiet, invisible force, is the foundation of every kind of power. When you see yourself clearly, you stop fighting shadows. You stop performing for approval and start living from truth. For so long, I thought life was a battle. Me against the world, me against pain, me against myself. But now I see it differently. The fight was never outside. It was always inside. And the moment I stopped running from it, the moment I faced it, I didn't lose power. I became it. You see, the world taught us that to survive, we must become hard. But hardness breaks. Softness endures. Steel shatters. Water shapes mountains. The oak falls in the storm. The reed bends and survives. Real strength is not resistance. It's rhythm. It's knowing when to stand tall and when to yield. It's not about being untouchable. It's about being unshakable. That's what awareness gives you. You no longer react to life. You respond to it. You no longer fear emotion. You use it. You no longer crave validation. You are validation. Power is not domination. It's understanding. And once you understand yourself, no one can control you. So if you've been pretending, if you've been holding it all together just to survive, this is your permission to stop. You don't have to keep carrying that armor. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to win every battle. You just need to come home to yourself, to the part of you that's tired of fighting, that's ready to feel, that's ready to live. Because that's where life begins again, not in perfection, but in presence. I know how scary that sounds, to drop the mask, to admit that you're human. But trust me, the moment you do, you'll realize something beautiful. You were never weak. You were just never allowed to be real, and real is stronger than anything you could ever pretend to be. Take a breath. Let this truth settle in your chest like a steady heartbeat. The performance ends here. The person you've been hiding finally gets to breathe. So, if this message spoke to you, if you felt even one sentence echo inside, don't let it fade. Like this video, share it with someone who's been carrying too much for too long. Subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one, because every week we go deeper, peeling back another layer of illusion, until what's left is nothing but truth. And before you go, tell me in the comments, what part of this resonated with you most? What truth hit hardest? Because your story, your insight, your awakening, that might be exactly what someone else needs to hear tonight. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect, it's to be whole. And that's the kind of strength that terrifies the world, because it can't be faked.